I don't know, but my artist Nino Breeze, he used to do 1,000 planks in the federal penitentiary, and I know I heard his chokehold was vicious.
It's just a heart thing. Somebody gotta have a heart to step up to the gorilla, bro. That first dude might get crushed, but we gonna figure it out.
That's all it's about.
Rick Ross's artist just walked free from federal custody. After surrendering to U.S. Marshals on Monday, Nino Breeze is back home for Christmas.
What was that experience like for you?
It was easy, bro. Like doing time. Unfortunately, I'm a convict, so it's like I done did a lot of time like that. You get used to it, and the way you get good at it, like you start learning like how to cope with it, or how to make time pass, or even how to make your time count. You know what I'm saying? So I had a support system while I was in there. I stayed focused. I was always reading and educating myself. I was working out. I was writing music. You know what I'm saying? And I did a good amount of networking in there because, it's federal prison, so.
On December 23rd, Breeze secured a $100,000 cash bond and posted another $100,000 in property collateral. He walked out of the Tampa federal courthouse the same day. This is the same man who already served almost 5 years in federal prison and now faces new federal charges. This situation involves Nino Breeze, real name Vaughn Matthews, a St. Petersburg rapper who got signed to Rick Ross's Maybach Music Group earlier in 2024. The feds came with federal charges for conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute, but now he's home, spending Christmas with his family waiting for trial. This goes way deeper than what you saw on social media. From the moment Breeze surrendered at the Tampa federal courthouse to walking out hours later, this story has turns nobody expected. Here's what actually went down. Let me break down the charges, how he got out so quick, and what this means for one of MMG's newest artists. Let's start from the beginning.
I'm on the streets, I'm making my music. Every time I send it to him, he sent it to Ross. I first met Ross in 22 when I made my first day out track, because it got posted on like a Florida blog. That's how Ross ran across it. And when I said it's under Kano, I'm like, hey boy, Fat Boy just, you know what I'm saying, just stamped me.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I've been telling him about you. Matter of fact, come down. So I ended up driving to Miami. We went to Club 11 that night.
Oh, that's
that was my
up.
first time meeting him, but that was in 22.
To understand this, you gotta know who Nino Breeze really is in the Florida rap scene. Vaughn Matthews, known as Nino Breeze, is a St. Petersburg native who's been grinding in the music game since 2013. He dropped his breakthrough project Trigga City Goon that year and started making noise in Florida. Back in 2015, he even collaborated with Kodak Black on a track called Benjamins. The streets were paying attention to what he was doing. But in 2016, Matthews' life took a serious turn. According to the U.S. Department of Justice Middle District of Florida press release from March 2017, he was sentenced to 6 years and 6 months in federal prison.
Take a look at one heck of a haul. That's a whopping 230 pounds of high-grade hydroponic pot. And at $5 a pound, that's a street value of more than $1 million. Major player Vaughn Matthews, but on the streets, he goes by Nino Breeze. He's 23, doesn't have a job, but he lives such a lavish lifestyle, he could afford his watch. Check it out, a cool 50 grand. His hydroponic headquarters based out of his apartment here in St. Pete, where drugs and money were just passing through.
He pleaded guilty in December 2016 to possessing weapons in furtherance of illegal activity and for possessing weapons and ammunition as a convicted felon. The 2016 case was substantial. According to court documents and local news reports from WFLA and Fox 13 Tampa Bay, law enforcement officers executed a search warrant at Matthews' residence on March 23, 2016. During the search, officers recovered over 20 pounds of packaged product, 3 weapons, more than 50 rounds of ammunition, and over $86,000 in cash. Further investigation revealed that Matthews had been working with individuals in California and had received at least 50 packages via mail. Chief Anthony Holloway of St. Petersburg Police told reporters at the time that Matthews lived a lavish lifestyle, including wearing a watch worth $55,000, despite not having a job. The total street value in that case was estimated at over $1 million. That was no small-time operation. Matthews was only 24 years old when he got arrested. Most artists would have given up. Nino Breeze didn't. While locked up, he kept recording. He dropped tracks like F It Up and released his 2017 Next Year Free Nino Brown mixtape, featuring songs like Jack Boy and his collaboration with Young Scooter called Bust Down. He stayed relevant even behind bars. The music kept flowing, and people on the outside kept listening. According to multiple sources, including The Garnett Report, The Breakfast Club, and St. Pete Catalyst, Nino Breeze was released from federal prison in 2022 after serving almost 5 years. He came home with a plan. Within months, he dropped First Day Out, and the video went crazy. The song showed his perspective, his pain, and his determination to make it in music. That First Day Out video made so much noise, it reached Rick Ross. According to an interview with Kiss 104 FM in April 2025, Breeze explained how it happened. He made friends with someone named Kano while incarcerated who had connections to Ross. They stayed in contact after release, and Kano kept showing Ross Breeze's music. Once Ross heard it and learned about Nino's background, he saw the hustle and the consistency. Earlier in 2024, Rick Ross officially announced Nino Breeze as the newest addition to Maybach Music Group. According to Baller Alert and multiple outlets, Ross made the announcement at his 3rd annual car show in Fayetteville, Georgia in June 2024, where thousands of people showed up. Breeze performed alongside names like Quavo, Big Crit, and Bun B. Ross posted on Instagram. The Real Back. Let's all welcome at Real Nino Breeze to hashtag MMG Florida on. This wasn't some small announcement. This was major. Ross saw something in Nino Breeze that made him believe this St. Petersburg artist could represent the new generation of MMG. By August 15, 2024, Nino Breeze dropped Type A featuring Rick Ross and Moneybag Yo. The track was produced by Beats by Taz and showed Nino's ability to blend street intensity with real artistry. Ross appeared giving his signature boss talk. Moneybag Yo closed it out. The song gained traction across Florida and beyond. According to St. Pete Catalyst, the video racked up over 1.5 million views on YouTube, and the song got nearly 2 million streams on Spotify. In interviews with YLD 94.1 and Kiss 104 FM, Breeze explained his approach to music. He said he's trying to give listeners both the intensity of street music and the artistry. He wants to blend the streets with creativity, pay attention to detail, and make something substantial. He emphasized he's talking about what he did, not just what he saw. By April 2025, Nino Breeze was touring with Rick Ross on the Millennium Tour 2025. According to Kiss 104 FM and Fox 32 Chicago, the tour featured Bow Wow, Omarion, Trey Songz, Bobby Valentino, Yin Yang Twins, Ray J, and more. Breeze performed at major venues like State Farm Arena in Atlanta and Wintrust Arena in Chicago. In an interview with Music Recall magazine in April 2025, Breeze talked about performing with Ross regularly. He said he takes a Tom Brady approach, always staying locked in and focused. He said performing with Ross feels like vibing and having a party. The opportunities from being affiliated with MMG were different because Ross has a unique lane in entrepreneurship. Here's where things get complicated again. Despite the success, despite the MMG deal, despite the tours and the music, federal authorities were building another case. Now this is when things really popped off. On Monday, December 23, 2024, Nino Breeze surrendered to the United States Marshal Service at the federal courthouse in Tampa. According to TMZ Hip Hop and Linda Ikeji's blog, he was charged with conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute. This wasn't a raid or an arrest at his home. This was a voluntary surrender, which tells you his lawyers knew the charges were coming. The timing matters here. December 23rd is 2 days before Christmas. Federal prosecutors often time these things intentionally. If someone can't secure bond immediately, they spend Christmas in custody. It's a pressure tactic that gives law enforcement leverage in negotiations. Breeze's attorneys, Bradford, Cohen, and Mark Rankin, immediately went to work. According to TMZ Hip Hop, they told reporters that Nino surrendered as required and that they were prepared to fight the case. Cohen is known for representing high-profile clients in serious federal cases. Having him on the team shows Breeze came prepared. The charge itself, conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute, is one federal prosecutors love to use. Conspiracy charges don't require prosecutors to prove you actually handled anything. They just need to prove you agreed with others to commit the offense. The bar is lower, and the sentences can be just as severe as if you did the actual act. What makes conspiracy charges particularly dangerous is the range of evidence prosecutors can use. Phone records, text messages, witness testimony, financial transactions, all of it becomes fair game. If you had conversations about something, even if nothing actually happened, you can still be charged. The federal government uses conspiracy charges to cast a wide net and bring in multiple defendants. defendants. According to TMZ Hip Hop, Breeze appeared before a federal judge for his bond hearing. The hearing happened the same day he surrendered. This is where his legal team made their arguments for why he should be released pending trial. During the bond hearing, something significant happened. According to TMZ Hip Hop and Linda Ikeji's blog, the federal judge noted Nino's promising music career. The judge reportedly encouraged him to keep progressing in his chosen field. That's not something federal judges say lightly. It shows the judge saw legitimate paths forward for Breeze outside of any alleged criminal activity. The bond terms were set at $100,000 cash and an additional $100,000 in property as collateral. That's $200,000 total securing his release. For someone with a music career and touring income, those numbers were manageable, but they're not small. The government wanted to make sure he had serious financial incentive to show up for trial. Breeze's attorneys told TMZ Hip Hop that their client would be home for Christmas. They added that they look forward to examining the evidence and reaching a fruitful resolution through trial. That statement is important. By saying through trial, they're signaling they might be willing to fight this case rather than immediately taking a plea deal. The speed of his release is worth noting. Breeze surrendered Monday morning and walked out the same day. In federal cases involving conspiracy charges, that's relatively quick. It suggests his legal team had already done significant work before the surrender. They probably negotiated the bond terms in advance, prepared financial documentation, and had everything ready for the judge. The hip-hop community and fans started reacting once the news broke. Social media lit up with reactions from fans and people following MMG. Some expressed shock that Breeze caught another federal case so soon after getting signed. Others pointed to the ongoing pattern of rappers facing legal issues just as their careers take off. The conversation online was heavy, but notably, Rick Ross himself stayed silent. As of December 25th, there has been no public statement from Ross about his artist's arrest. According to TMZ Hip Hop and other outlets, no Instagram posts, no tweets, no comments to the media. For someone who's usually vocal about his artists and his label, the silence speaks volumes. The situation puts Ross in a difficult position. On one hand, that's his artist, someone he personally signed and vouched for. On the other hand, Ross has built an empire. He has Wingstop franchises, real estate investments, brand partnerships, and multiple revenue streams. One wrong statement could create complications for everyone involved. The Maybach Music Group camp has been completely quiet about the arrest. No official statements from the label, no posts on social media, nothing. In an industry where labels usually put out statements supporting their artists, this silence is intentional. It's a strategic decision to let the legal process play out before making any public comments. Radio stations in Tampa and St. Petersburg covered the story when it broke. Local outlets like YLD 94.1 and 99 JAMZ, which had interviewed Breeze just months earlier, reported the arrest. But the tone was different from typical hip-hop news. This wasn't entertainment gossip, this was serious federal legal trouble. But that's not even the craziest part. The same day Nino Breeze surrendered, December 23rd, he was released on bond. According to TMZ Hip Hop, after posting the $100,000 cash bond and securing the property collateral, he walked out of the Tampa federal courthouse. He was home for Christmas, just like his attorneys promised. Getting out on bond the same day in a federal conspiracy case shows strong legal representation. Cohen and Rankin clearly prepared everything in advance. They had the financial documentation ready, the property information submitted, and arguments prepared for why Breeze deserved release pending trial. Federal bond in conspiracy cases isn't guaranteed. When you're facing federal charges, especially with a prior federal conviction on your record, prosecutors usually argue you're a risk. They point to your criminal history and say you've already shown disregard for the law. The fact that Breeze got bond despite his 2016 federal conviction shows his legal team made convincing arguments. The conditions of his release haven't been fully detailed publicly, but federal bond typically comes with strict requirements. Breeze likely has to check in regularly with pretrial services, might have travel restrictions, and definitely can't get into any more legal trouble. One violation, and he goes straight back into custody. Right after his release, Breeze hasn't posted anything publicly about the arrest on his social media. His Instagram remained focused on his music and career. That's smart. Defense attorneys always tell clients to stay off social media when facing federal charges. Everything you post can be used as evidence. The hip-hop community started talking once he got out. Some people questioned how he secured bond so quickly on federal conspiracy charges. In the streets and on social media, rumors started about cooperation with authorities. It's a pattern that happens every time someone gets out on federal charges quickly. People assume the worst. But sources close to Breeze, according to various social media discussions, said his release came from strong legal representation and solid preparation, not from cooperation. Bradford Cohen is known for aggressive defense strategies that don't involve his clients talking to feds. His reputation matters in this situation, but here's what most people missed in all the headlines about his release. Getting out on bond in a federal conspiracy case is significant, but it doesn't mean the case is weak. The federal government has a conviction rate above 90%. They don't bring charges unless they believe they can win. The fact that they charged Breeze with conspiracy suggests they have evidence of communications, agreements, or actions that they believe prove criminal intent. The details of what specific evidence the government has haven't been made public yet. Federal cases move slowly. Discovery, where the defense gets to see what evidence prosecutors have, can take months. Breeze's attorneys said they look forward to examining the evidence, which means they haven't seen everything yet. There's an uncomfortable conversation about how often artists get charged with serious offenses right when their careers start taking off. Nino Breeze served his time for his 2016 conviction. He came home, grinded for 2 years, caught the attention of Rick Ross, got signed to MMG, started touring, and was building legitimate income. Then federal charges come back into his life. Some people in the industry argue that law enforcement pays closer attention to artists once they start succeeding. Others say the streets don't disappear just because you get a record deal. Both perspectives have truth to them. The reality is complex and varies case by case. For Nino Breeze specifically, he's in a situation where his past federal conviction will be used against him in this new case. Prosecutors will argue he didn't learn from his first stint in federal prison. They'll say he went right back to illegal activity even after serving time. That narrative is powerful in front of a jury. The fact that the judge encouraged Breeze to continue progressing in his music career is significant. Federal judges don't make those kinds of statements without reason. It suggests the judge sees a path forward for Breeze that doesn't involve more prison time. That could mean the evidence isn't as strong as typical conspiracy cases, or it could mean the judge recognizes rehabilitation efforts. Conspiracy charges often involve multiple defendants. The charging documents haven't been made fully public, so it's unclear if Breeze is the only person charged or if there are co-defendants. If there are others charged, each defendant's case can affect the others. Cooperation deals, plea agreements, and trial strategies all become interconnected. Looking back at Breeze's 2016 case provides some context. According to Fox 13 Tampa Bay and Bay News 9 from April 2016, St. Petersburg police executed a search warrant at his residence on Ibis Walk Place North. They found 23 pounds of high-grade product packaged for distribution, 3 handguns, and $87,000 in cash. After his arrest, authorities intercepted additional packages containing more product and money totaling $168,800 and approximately 230 pounds total. That 2016 case was substantial. The street value was estimated at $1.15 million. Chief Holloway told reporters at the time that Matthews lived a lavish lifestyle, including wearing a watch worth $55,000, despite not having a job. The police described him as a major player who stayed low-key and off the radar. Breeze served his time for that case and was released in 2022. He immediately focused on music. Everything public suggests he was building a legitimate career through Maybach Music Group. The touring, the performances, the collaborations with Rick Ross and Moneybagg Yo, all of that represents real income from legal sources. So that's where we're at with this whole situation. As of December 25th, 2024, Nino Breeze is out on bond, home for Christmas with his family. He's waiting for his next court date, which hasn't been set yet. He's presumed innocent until proven guilty in court. That presumption matters, especially in federal cases where the government has massive resources. The federal government is building its case. Prosecutors are reviewing evidence, interviewing witnesses if they haven't already, and preparing their arguments. Federal cases can take months or even years to go to trial. The length of time often works in the government's favor because it puts pressure on defendants to take plea deals. Rick Ross continues to stay silent publicly. There's been no statement from Maybach Music Group as an organization, no social media posts addressing the situation, nothing. In hip-hop, where artists usually speak up immediately about everything, this silence is calculated. It's about protecting the brand while supporting the artist privately. Keep your eyes on several things moving forward. First, whether Nino's legal team can negotiate a plea deal, or if this goes to trial. Federal cases rarely go to trial because of the government's high conviction rate. Most defendants take plea deals to reduce potential sentences. But with Bradford Cohen as his attorney, who's known for taking cases to trial, anything is possible. Second, watch if any other names get pulled into this investigation. Conspiracy charges often involve multiple people. If prosecutors believe there's a wider network, more indictments could come down. The language in conspiracy charges is usually broad enough to include others if evidence exists. Third, the impact on Nino Breeze's music career and his relationship with Maybach Music Group. While Ross hasn't dropped him from the label, the situation creates complications. Tour dates might get affected if Breeze has travel restrictions. Recording schedules could be interrupted by court appearances. Business partnerships might get put on hold. The bigger picture here shows the ongoing tension between street credibility and legitimate success in hip-hop. Nino Breeze represents a story many artists know well. You come from difficult circumstances. You make mistakes. You serve time. You try to rebuild your life through music. And then the past comes back in ways you didn't expect. For Breeze, the road ahead is uncertain. Federal conspiracy charges carry serious potential sentences. If convicted, he could face years in federal prison, especially with his prior federal conviction on his record. His legal team will need to challenge every piece of evidence, question every witness, and find holes in the government's case. The conspiracy charge itself is what makes this case particularly challenging. Prosecutors don't need to prove Breeze actually possessed anything or distributed anything. They just need to prove he agreed with one or more people to commit the offense. Phone calls, text messages, even in-person conversations that someone witnessed, all of that can be used to prove conspiracy. Rick Ross's silence makes sense from a business perspective. Ross has built an empire that extends far beyond music. He has Wingstop franchises, real estate investments, brand partnerships, and multiple revenue streams. One wrong statement about Breeze's case could create liability issues or damage relationships with corporate partners. Looking at Breeze's trajectory shows how quickly things can change in the music industry. Less than a year ago, he was celebrating getting signed to MMG. He was performing at Rick Ross's car show in front of thousands. He was releasing music with Rick Ross and Moneybagg Yo. He was touring major arenas across the country. Now he's facing federal charges that could derail everything. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about Nino Breeze catching these federal charges right after getting signed to MMG? Does he have a real shot at beating this case, or is the evidence too strong? Should Rick Ross speak up publicly, or is staying silent the right move? How do you think this affects his music career moving forward? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I want to know where you stand on this. If this breakdown gave you the full story on Nino Breeze's arrest and kept it real from start to finish, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell too so you don't miss any updates on this case as it develops. Trust me, there's going to be more to this story, and you'll want to be here when the next chapter drops. Share this video with anyone who's been following Nino's case or anyone who needs to understand what really went down. The more people who know the full story, the better the conversations we can have about it. And if you want to see more deep dives like this on major hip-hop stories, let me know in the comments what situations you want me to break down next. I'm here to give you the facts without the fluff, and your support keeps this going. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.